Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to an episode of Tatami Talk. My name is Juan. This is my co-partner Anthony. This is a judo podcast for judo players by two judo players. So, this episode is our 75th episode. That means, yay! We should have like sparklers and stuff. I should have got that da-da-da-da-da. Something happened right here. So this is episode 75. That means this is actually our 3-year anniversary episode. We have been doing Tatami Talk for 3 years now.
I am so surprised that we didn't skip a single episode. You know, like we never took a break or anything. Like we made it work somehow. Yeah, we made it work.
We recorded our episodes early. We never were late. We do like 2 a week sometimes. You go on vacation because Anthony loves to travel and stuff.
I love to travel. Just I haven't been traveling by my own accord lately. So let's just put it that way.
So it's been 3 years doing Tatami Talk. I didn't know that who knew that we make it even 3 years? Who knew we make it this far? 75th episode. That's crazy.
Yeah, I thought we would like. I'm half joking, all right. I thought we would get like 1 million subscribers and let's fight over money or something and be like splitting off.
And we still ain't making money doing this. We are still just doing this for the love of the game. We got no sponsorships. We're just doing this for the love of judo. All right. How do we get sponsors? What are we going to do, man?
We'll figure it out later. You know,
how do we get a gi sponsor at least? Come on, Fuji. Come on, man.
Well, you don't want to be sponsored by NordVPN or something like all those other YouTube channels.
Oh God. Oh, was it NordVPN? What's that video game they all play? That
Shadow Raid Legend.
Shadow Legend. Shadow Legend. Way of the something.
No, if IGF
why are we sponsored by some Wiki Wheel pills? All right, come on, we can use some Wiki Wheel pills.
If IGF didn't do the IGF TV thing, we could be like, oh, you can't watch IGF tournaments on your country, like because YouTube sometimes region locked, and it's like, oh, use NordVPN.
Yeah, that's like almost every NordVPN commercial or ad that they run on these podcasts now always talk about, well, if you can't watch your movie you want to watch, or go to this one, or was it Netflix, or since I'm a wrestling fan, the WWE Network, you know, since it's changed here in the US.
Speaking of which, as a tech guy, don't use NordVPN. Seriously, don't use NordVPN.
See, no, we're gonna lose sponsorship now. They ain't gonna sponsor us now.
If you want to support, I'll just keep it short so it's not controversial. Just use Mulvad. Mulvad VPN's my VPN of choice. So that if you really care about anonymity, being anonymous, basically. So, yep. Okay, moving on.
And that just shoots us in the foot right there. Knows of NordVPN sponsorship now. Damn it. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you for that NordVPN money.
Surfshark is the one, I think. The one that I see people use. Or Squarespace. We need a website, so let's get sponsored by Squarespace.
Do we need a website? It's been 3 years now. See, we have we don't have the Facebook. We have the Instagram so far, and that's it. That's all social media that we have.
Yeah, we don't have a website. We just use the Anchor thing. But I was thinking of getting a website up eventually, just for like future plans on videos and stuff like that. We have like a central repository and and some topics that we talk about, like self-defense stuff. Like I really liked the interview we did with Beverly, and I think most people I talked about in the self-defense space don't like. Was like they really liked the episode, but they didn't know it was there, even though they listened to our podcast. So I just thought maybe like it's a good place to like have some of that kind of stuff there. So
what if we get a Patreon? Should we get a Patreon now? It's been 3 years. Should we get like some selected videos for Patreon?
Honestly, I don't think it's worth it. Patreon. They take a pretty big cut. So
do they? I mean, okay.
Yeah, they do.
Should we get an OnlyFans?
I don't think it's worth it. Get an OnlyFans.
Should we get an OnlyFans?
I'll show my feet at the feet pics of me at the dojo. You know, like
we can make some money off that too. We can make some money.
You want to see my judo feet? Like,
on the down low, I'm going to tell you now. There's some I don't want to get into it. You want to know how I got my car? No, I did. I swear, I did. Okay.
How did the dojo afford new windows?
You want to know how we got those new mats? Well, so this is our 3-year episode.
Hey, if I want to make that beach judo thing happen, I gotta get my money funding from somewhere, you know.
Hey, if I want to buy those Dollar mats, so we can start having tournaments at our own dojo and stuff. We gotta do something. All right.
We get the Dollar mats with a Juan's Feet, sponsored by Juan's Feet, printed on it.
These toes right here work really hard, so you have mats. Okay, so thank you everybody for supporting us. Thank you for watching the shows. Thank you for listening, whichever platform you choose to do it on, whether it's on YouTube or whether on any of the podcast sites that's out there. Thank you. We appreciate it. Like I always say, we do this for the love of the game. We're not doing this to get rich. We want to do rich. We want to have done a BJJ podcast or MMA one. We're doing judo. All right. This is for love of the game here. But thank you everyone for your support, sending us messages, people that say hi to us when we go out to places. I guess people don't like me that much because people always say hi to Anthony, never say not hi to me. They must be scared of me or something.
We didn't talk. Did we talk about it last episode about what happened at the tournament?
No, because we're talking about the tournament right now.
We're going to talk about a tournament. Yeah.
We're going to talk about a tournament right now. So yeah. Okay. So
no,
you want to go into the tournament now then?
No, before we go on, I want to say, yeah, it's been a great 3 years. Like you said, we're not doing this out for money. And I don't think we would have done a BJJ podcast if we wanted money. I think we would have just done the same thing, but talked a lot more trash, I guess. You know, like, you know what they say, like drama, which is funny because given the topic of this episode, but
yes,
drama drives. We're talking about it because we think it's important, but at the same time, we're not some of those channels that are like, is BJJ like basically just judo, like, or is this martial arts trash? Like, you know, I'm not going to name which channels, but there are other channels out there that talk about stuff like that, or they like upload cool, flashy looking techniques, you know, that are good to look at, but I don't think it works really well, kind of stuff. So, yeah, we could always have done that to drive clicks and views, but I feel like we both don't want to do stuff like that, and we don't want to do what everyone else is doing, which is just like, this is how you do oso dogari, you know. So yeah. So yeah, well, that's my thought.
Yeah, well, there's an old saying in wrestling, and my friends out there, you guys are also wrestling fans, all know this: controversy creates cash, and we're not out there to create cash that way. All right, we're out there to promote judo in a good light and create the. What was that? One of those like fundamental things of like unity. What it was
judo for unity, like that thing.
Yeah,
one day.
Yeah, that thing. We're doing it. We're trying. You know, that's what happens. So, thank you, everybody. We appreciate it, and hopefully, we have another 3 great years. Okay, I want to at least know that we're gonna get to at least 100 episodes. All right, whether we like it or not. All right, I want to get to 1,000.
We get to 100 and say we beat Dave Roman and actually got to 100.
Well, he got sponsorships. He's still making money.
I know how much they pay those sponsorships, those ads that he runs. He probably, like you said, he probably got enough to buy a cheeseburger. Like, seriously, like it's just like Google ad clicks. What, it's like 1-2 cents per click or something like that. Like you need. This is why you need like millions of views to even register.
That's why we need a gi sponsor to give us free gis, maybe a mat sponsor to get us some more mats, you know, a bag sponsor or something. Get me a hat sponsor, you know, why not? I'll wear whatever you want on my hat. Not anything, but I
don't know. Maybe for you it matters. Just for me, it's like unless it's going to help grow the podcast or help grow the judo community, I don't think it's worth it, but that's because like money is not that big of an issue to me. So
yeah, all right. It's funny. Next week I come out looking like a NASCAR racer and stuff. Got sponsorships all over me. Drink this drink. And this is my protein bar.
I will. Now. If anyone is just listening, I will not. I personally am against supplement sponsorships, so I would never do that because I think most of them is a scam. So
I understand you're shooting us in the foot more. Oh, Anthony, it's too picky. That's why I need a gi sponsor, please.
Remember I talked about how we haven't broken up yet? This is like the cracks forming. Like,
Yeah, we're both saying we both don't care and stuff. I know it's a joke. Yeah, you know it's a joke with me and stuff. I'm just playing around, but hey, it's been great 3 years, and let's have another 1,000 episodes, hopefully.
Yeah, Juan will accept supplement sponsors. I won't. So let's leave it at that.
Yeah, I'll accept them. I'm doing.
On his Instagram
I'll
page.
accept them. Yeah, my Instagram page. I take this and all these other things. Blue Chew. Anthony loves Blue Chew. Just so everybody know, Anthony loves Blue Chew. Do you know what Blue Chew is?
No, is that like High Chew?
No, you should look it up then.
Blue Chew.
Oh, he's gonna look it up now. Oh shit.
What it? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. Moving on.
All right. So moving on. So was it 2 weeks ago or was it 2 weeks ago now? Because it happened like the day.
It's literally the day of us recording or the day after, I guess.
The day before. It's the day before we recorded because we did an early podcast so that Anthony was going to go coach. So last weekend or 2 weeks ago was the I always want to say Lord Taishi.
Lord Taishi.
Because I'm a New Japan fan, okay? It's the Taishi tournament. It's a judo dojo out here. They have a great tournament every year. And last year they were the first tournament to start happening.
They were the first tournament.
Pandemic.
Yeah. If you go back to the episode, if you go back to the episode, we talk about it, about how they were one of the first in judo to use smooth comp too. Mm-hmm. Not the first, but one of the first in the major local ones.
Yeah. So it's been a year, and that first year they had it was their first year using smooth comp, which has not run smoothly. And it was one of the biggest tournaments we've ever seen. It was like almost like 700, 800 competitors, was it?
750, I believe it was.
750, which on average for a normal tournament of that size, you'll be lucky to get like 500, 4 to 5 is considered good. So them getting 7 was amazing. That was great. So
which
Anthony,
is why it was run like poorly that time.
So they probably worked out the kinks, there's their second year's doing smooth comp now. They probably had things better. I don't know if it was as big as it was last year. Anthony was there. I actually had something to do, so I couldn't go coach. So Anthony, how'd it go?
I haven't looked up the numbers. So I don't know whether it's bigger or not. And also I wasn't there early this time. Because I wasn't coaching a kid. I was coaching kids previously, which is why I was there whole day. Plus someone pulled the fire alarm. So I was there literally for 13 hours.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh,
I was there for 13 hours that day. But I want to say to listen to our episode and make the changes, but probably not. It's just common sense. Most quick review of what happened during that time, or just quick summary of the episode. Basically, they used smooth comp, but they did not have people on with the cell phones. They just expected all the coaches to have the cell phones and know when to come up, basically. But this time they had people at the table, like volunteers at the table with a cell phone, calling up people who are on deck and making sure people are ready to show up there. The mats were clearly labeled. There was 2 computer monitors with the mats and who's coming up next that people were able to go up to look at the schedule. That was super helpful. There were people, actually volunteers, checking people's wristbands, not letting the mat area, the area next to the mats, get crowded or flooded.
Good.
So
good.
That was a huge improvement.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves. That's one of my biggest pet peeves.
I mean, on average, I think it was most of the people that we coached only got delayed like 2 hours max. I think on average it was like an hour. So everything was really smoothly run. There was a huge area behind the side that was for warm-ups that people were able to go to. So I didn't feel like you can't see the matches going on, but at least it was like an open area that if you feel like crowded and you have no place to sit, which is what happened last time, the bleachers were filled up. Like that was a good place for you to go stretch out, walk, warm up. Like there was a good area. There was a good open area outside for you to sit. Overall, they really ironed out the kinks with the smooth comp thing. So really like that. And there's also no like sign up area. Traditionally, if you've been to any of the local California, Southern California tournaments, there's like a check-in desk in the front. It's where you sign up and all that stuff. And it's like a choke point where like everyone's trying to get through. So they don't have that because I think everyone has to pre-register for this tournament, which is why I think this tournament ran so smoothly. I was really surprised. They also upgraded their mats. Clearly, all the volunteers have like a jersey this time. You know who to go up to ask for questions. I'm repeating it, but I'm really, really, really surprised how big of an improvement 1 year made, and I'd like to take credit for it because we complained about all that stuff, but. At first, I also mixed this tournament up with a team tournament I participated in because it was in the same location called Cerritos College. That, if you remember, past episode we talked about, there was only one restroom there, and someone like 7 a.m. in the morning like had diarrhea all over the walls. So, if you remember that episode. I thought it was going to be that same location. So when I was going, I'm like, oh crap, I really don't want to go to coach because it's going to be that place again. There was not enough space, super crowded. People were trampling over each other, one bathroom only. And I thought it was going to be the same place, but it was the same college, but a different stadium. So this venue was much, much nicer.
Much better. All right.
Yeah. My only complaint is there's no vending machines. If I had to really nitpick on something, there was no vending machines.
But did they have like a little food stand up or something?
Yeah, but you have to have cash and they rip you off and all that stuff. And
was there a 7-Eleven nearby?
No, we ended up going to In-N-Out, and Philippe never had In-N-Out before. We took him to In-N-Out.
Really?
Yeah, he's never ever had In-N-Out before. We were so surprised. So we took him to have In-N-Out. He liked it, but he said it was too salty. And he started getting a headache afterwards. So,
did he get a burger and fries or just a burger?
He didn't like the fries, but he liked the burger.
Yeah. All right.
So
too salty. Interesting.
Yeah, that was a Taishi tournament. Really, really surprised at how well it was ran. Because honestly, I don't think these complaints that we made before, not about the smooth comp, but just in general, have been mostly ignored for the last 5 to 10 years. So
hey, we've only been around 3. Okay, calm down.
Yeah. So the fact that within a year they were able to make that big of a change, it's really impressive. Kudos to them. So
good.
Yeah.
I know for me, I've really enjoyed the smooth comp tournaments I've gone to. I really think that it has made things smoother like it's supposed to, made things a lot easier. I know some people were complaining about, I had one person complain I saw about how the tournament brackets now are so big. And I'm like, well, yeah, don't you want a 6-man or 8-man bracket or something?
I know, right?
Because one thing I noticed that they stopped doing as soon as they started doing smooth comp is I saw a lot less of these 3-man, 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 2-man, 3-man, 3-man, 2-man brackets. And it's like, no, dude, if they made the weight and the thing, let's put them in the same weight class together. If they're near each other and it's supposed to be light, middle, heavy, well, then let's put them light, middle, heavy, not just, okay, we'll put these 3 guys together. We'll put these 4 guys together. We'll put these 2 guys together. So I noticed that there's bigger brackets now. So it's running smoother, it makes you actually feel like you're actually really doing a tournament. You're actually really competing.
Yeah.
And we had a few people compete against one person twice. That's going to happen. It's always going to happen. They're going to be small brackets. But I noticed that there's a lot less now since they started introducing smooth comp.
Well, I'm also going to, one of the other things I complained about last year was how they stuffed the brown belt basically into the novice division. And that girl had no business being in that division. But I don't know how that happened with smooth comp, right? I don't know how that happened. I think they were using smooth comp kind of for brackets, but they were still manually doing something because they were printing the bracket. Was this Taishi tournament? I think it was, right? So that
I believe it was Taishi. Yeah.
It was Taishi, I believe, but they were for some reason printing out their brackets on the walls. So I don't know if they were still accepting signups last minute and editing the brackets that way. This might have been 2 years, even a year before that, probably. But anyway, so none of that stuff happened. All of our beginners did I don't want to say they won, but looking at their judo, I was really impressed. Obviously, they were fighting more experienced people, a lot of them, so I don't expect them to win, but they were trying stuff and doing stuff that I've taught them to do, and they weren't making mistakes that I told them to avoid. So, yeah, I was really surprised, and I'm glad I went, even though I was dreading going in the morning. So.
All right, so that's cool. So it's good that this isn't. Yeah, you have something to say? Yeah.
No, I was just talking about that incident that happened too. Like,
which one?
Oh, no, the one where we had a listener come up to me. Well, he didn't come up to me, but I was.
That's not an incident. That's
not an incident. Yeah, it was.
Why do you say incident? So mean.
No, I was coaching one of our I don't want to say beginner anymore because he's green belt now, but he hurt his rib. So it wasn't too bad yet. So I was like, you want to continue? Like, it's up to you. I'm not forcing you. Like, you could adjust your fight style so you avoid like putting pressure on it. And then like the person who was about to go up to the mat in front of us just turned around and stared at me and it made me kind of
stared you down.
Yeah, so I was like, hi, like, can I help you? And he was like, oh, I'm actually a huge fan of your podcast. And I was like, oh, I immediately was like, oh my God, this is so wholesome. Like, so I shook his hand and I was like, good luck. And then like, yeah, but I was trying to focus on Peter at the time because he was getting hurt. But yeah. So I posted on my Instagram story that I really appreciate it if I can't, because I know sometimes it come off as intimidating according to some people. So if you're listening right now, I really appreciate you for coming up to me and letting me know how much you like our podcast. So yeah, not good with that sort of stuff. So.
Well, you went from like, what were you staring at? Would you want some? Would you want to go right now?
I don't know if I came off as that, basically.
Stop. Where you from? What dojo?
Now, for those who don't know, like a lot of kids in my take my first class, like sometimes start crying because they're scared of me, just from me talking like this. Like, I'm like, why are you crying? Like, what did I do?
It's a big ogre of a man. Remember, Anthony is 6'2", 6'3".
6'4". 6'4".
Anthony is 6'4", 6'4". All right, he's the biggest Asian man you will see in your life. 6'4" and lanky. All right, he's a slender man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's cool that the tournament's gotten better. It's been well run.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, I really appreciate the smooth comp system. I think it's made things a lot more better, just make things a lot more smoother, like I said before. So this is cool. I hope more tournaments are going to go this way, using smooth comp and becoming more organized like this. I know another local tournament that happens a lot is that actually got canceled, sadly, was Mojica tournament. And I kept on looking when Mojica is going to put up their thing of like, are they going to use smooth comp? Are they going to have us mail in our applications? Or you have like, it's a day of registration again, but they never put anything up. So it was really weird. Couldn't tell what it was, but that's another tournament that I think is very good for beginners and intermediates to go to. So
this year they made it juniors only, kids only.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also it got canceled. So
yeah, I said it got canceled.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you know why it got canceled?
I do know why. You want to explain why?
No, I'm going to give up my reason why I think it got canceled. I don't know.
We already know. We already know why it got canceled. So,
well, okay. So because the junior nationals is happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
So junior nationals happening right now over on the East, Texas, is it?
So, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where it is.
They're not happening in California right now. Okay. I believe it's happening in Texas. So because that's happening there, and since Los Angeles, the LA area provides a lot of the refs, we have tons of refs here in Southern California. They were worried that they would have not worried. Like they pretty much knew we were going to have no refs for our tournament because they're all going to Texas for that tournament. Because you have to remember in judo, if you don't compete, another way to get points for your next DON certificate is to ref. So am I going to go to this local tournament and get these points, or am I going to go to a national tournament and get these points? So people decided to go to the national instead. So Mojica decided, we're put on ice this year. We're going to just cancel it. It was going to be a junior tournament anyway, or it was only be a youth tournament mostly anyway. So we're just going to cancel, which is sad because probably some kids are probably looking forward to it and training. But
yeah, other than the sign up process, I actually really like the Mojica tournament. So
yeah, and that's my thing. Like, I want to see what the sign-in process is going to be this year. If they're going to do a smooth comp or keep it the paper system, whatever it's going to be. But we didn't get to know. So that's pretty interesting. All the refs are like, sorry, we're going to go over here instead.
It's like, do we go to the USA Judo tournament or do we do the local Nanka one?
Yeah. So speaking of USA Judo and Nanka stuff, now this is more of this is big news if you live in the United States. If you're outside the United States, this is probably going to seem crazy to you. So for our international listeners, just listen, just stand by and give us your thoughts on this. So in America, we have three major federations. We have USA Judo, which is the one that works directly with the Olympics and the IGF, and that's what we send our athletes to the Olympics international tournaments through USA Judo. We also have two smaller federations. The oldest one in America would be the USJF, United States Judo Federation.
Before you say that, it's actually AAU is older. It's an older one.
Do you consider AAU a federation? Do you really?
Yeah. They were before USA Judo. It was AAU.
The AAU. We'll do AAU out of here. All right. So there's USJF, which is the other major federation, and then there's USJA, United States Judo Association. Mm-hmm. So for the past how many years have it been? Like 15 years or so? It's like around that. I know it's less than that, but let's just round up 15 years. They've had a really good negotiation where
I think all it was since the 80s.
Well, that's the tournament. Yeah. That's the tournament.
Oh, that's the tournament thing. Yeah.
That's the tournament thing, which is different. Now I'm gonna explain those two right there. Okay. Yeah. So the first negotiation, the one that's falling apart right now, or it's being what do they call conscious uncoupling right now.
I don't think it was 15. If you're talking about the three alliance agreement, it's not. Yeah, it's not 15 years. It was like 5 or something like that. Yeah.
Whatever. It's been around for a while. Time flies as you get older. So we've had this Judo Alliance where whatever federation you're a part of, you can compete in anyone's tournament. Okay, your insurance is covered through all of them. Which, as Anthony will always yell and tell you, that it doesn't matter. Okay, Anthony, what you gotta say?
Except for the USA Judo Nationals. That was the one exception.
That was the one exception. Okay.
Which is what the other, we'll get into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, the alliance was that if you're part of this, we're part of this alliance, we're all going to work together. We're all going to work together to promote judo. You can compete at any of our tournaments. With this also, if I'm a third dan in USA Judo, I'm a third dan in USJA, I'm a third dan in USJF. They all agree upon it. Okay. And those are kind of the big ones. And it's also about training. Your dojo didn't have to be just one federation. If you had a federation membership to any of the federations, you can go train at pretty much any dojo. You be covered through insurance.
Yeah, it's covered. That's one of the events too. Like any sort of events, training camps, like tournaments. Yeah.
And that's kind of like one of the more big sticking points, that it always comes down to insurance for judo. We're contact sports, things happen, people get hurt. And it always comes down to insurance for the most part, in my opinion.
In my opinion, the insurance is to cover their own ass, not for us. Because I've had to use the insurance, right? So you know how useless it is.
That's what I'm saying. Like, for insurance, quote unquote, it's more to cover themselves. But that's what it always comes down to, in my opinion. So the big one also was coaching. If I had a coaching certificate in USJA or USJF or USA Judo, I can coach at any tournament except for USA Nationals, because that's the big one of the year of the year. I can go coach at any of them. Like, I have a USJA coaching certificate. I can go coach at USJF tournaments. I can go coach at USA Judo tournaments. I used to be able to, at least, but as long as I had one. The other thing, that's the one that Anthony was talking about, it's been around for almost 30 years now, since the 80s, was that we can compete at each of our tournaments. That's the other one, except for the big major. So if I have USJA federation, I can compete at USJF tournaments, no problem. I can compete at USA Judo tournaments, no problem, except for USA National. There's going to be that quotation right there. Yeah. I'll put that over my head. USA National, except for that.
Not included.
Yeah, not included. Not included. So there's all these things. There's also little things in there. So those are the big things that we're talking about right there. Okay, those are the big things that you can just plain see why the federation's united, why they're working together to grow judo. Okay, and it's just the whole thing of USA Judo deals with the IGF, they deal with the Olympics, they deal with creating the US team to go international. USJF and USJA, I always say they're more grassroots to develop judo, which I
I disagree with that term.
I hate that. I hate that excuse. I'm just to say it out there. I hate that excuse. All right. I really hate that excuse.
They should say developing young competitors instead of, when you say grassroots, I think of developing judo for people like us that we're trying to get more recreational people to do judo. Like that's what I think is grassroots, but they're focusing on hosting tournaments and developing a pipeline for competitors. That's truly what they're doing. So,
yeah. So the negotiation was supposed to be done. I think it was this month or next month. It was supposed to be finished for them to renegotiate this alliance. And USA Judo decided to step away from the table. I don't know what happened exactly, but USA Judo put out a statement. I believe not telling anybody. The way that USJA and USJF put out their statements, they feel that they just got blindsided by this. That USA Judo.
Yeah, I think it's important. This is USJA and USJF's claim that USA Judo walked away from the negotiation, did not, and made that post without any prior warning. That's what their claim is.
That's what their claim is. So because of this, the alliance is dissolving. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a little bit of grace period for the next month or two about people having to figure out what. Well, it is March already. Shoot.
Yeah. Not even.
Yeah.
It's just,
oh my God.
Tournament. I think the Youth Nationals is the only exception. I believe that's the only exception that they're putting into the rule. But everything else is basically gone now. They're not. Yeah,
because I was just thinking about it. For some reason, I thought of March. I was thinking like the beginning of March still. So I was like, oh, they have like end of the month or so. Figure out, like, no, it's already the middle of March. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Okay. And by the time the video comes out, it'll be 2/3 through March. So, Anthony, can you please read a USA Judo statement they sent out?
Yeah, before, we have to differentiate between a 3 alliance agreement, which was said was like 4 or 5 years ago that was signed. And then there's also agreement that they had back in the 80s that basically said they can compete at each tournament, like each other's tournament, except for USA Nationals. The 3 alliance agreement was basically more about recognizing rank and, like you said, participating in events and all that kind of stuff. So also, if you guys remember the AJDM episode we did, like that was part of the 3 alliance agreement. They were supposed to come up with a development model for developing athletes. If you had to ask me, like putting from someone who's outside that whole circle's perspective, if I had to put the pieces together, they signed the agreement because of LA Olympics happening. And they probably got pressured into doing that development model and thought it would be good to pull in these other people and stuff. And then, as we can see now, nothing really came out of it. Yeah. So USA Judo is like, why are we basically, from their point of view, okay, I'm not saying that, I'm not going to insert my opinion yet. Why are we giving away money for free, basically giving away these services for free? We're not getting anything back. They're just like taking from us. So that's why I think they did that. Okay, so I'll read the important parts of the agreement. So I'm going to speed through this. So USA Judo, like, dear USA Judo members, blah, blah, blah. So we have been they said last 6 years. 6 years is how long the agreement has been.
Okay, 6 years.
The agreement will expire on March 14th. Both JA and JF were notified by USA Judo last fall that they would not be able to renew the agreements as it is written due to increased athlete safety mandates by the U.S. Center for Safe Sports that needed to be addressed. Unfortunately, the 3 organizations have not been able to come to a renewal agreement prior to the expiration of the current agreement next Tuesday. Okay, so do you want me to read the whole thing, or you want me to like dissect that bit by bit?
Up to you, Anthony. You're the one reading it.
All right. So here's the problem, I think, so far with that statement, right? Why can't they talk about what the requirement for U.S. Center for Safe Sport is? Usually when, what do you call it? Like corporate double speak wise, when they put out these PR statements, one, they are stretching the truth. That's one possibility. 2, there's something confidential that they're trying to hide. 3, they're trying to prevent a lawsuit by saying it. Or 4, they're just straight up lying. Like, right? So it's one or multiple reasons for those possibilities. Why would they not say what the specific safety requirements for the safe sport and needs to be addressed. Mm-hmm. Now, what I think is they probably need one unified database of everyone that is safe sport certified for judo. And I think the organizations don't want to give away that database for like self-interest reasons. It makes total sense why they would not give away that information, right? So USA Judo is like, well, I need this for to remain like safe sport certified, because they're the ones who are the NGB for the Olympics. So I think there's some sort of problem there, or they don't want people. They couldn't figure out who's going to pay for that database, that unified database. So I think that's probably why they're not kind of explaining it, right? Okay. So that's what I think. So let's continue. What does this mean for USA Judo, JA, and JF members? USA Judo sanctioned events will only allow USA Judo members to compete. Okay. USA Judo members' participant accident insurance will not cover any injury sustained at a non-USA Judo sanctioned event. We talked about that. Coaches will only be allowed to coach at the youth nationals, like we said, and after that, they will require a USA Judo sanctioned coaching certification. Okay, so we talked about that too. U.S. Center for Safe Sport Trainings and Certifications, as well as the background screening applications, will only be found through their online login membership platform now. So about that, when I renewed my coaching cert like 3 years ago, I think 2 years ago, I could not find a USJA or USJF link to the background check and safe sport cert. I had to go through when I emailed them and asked, they told me to go through USA Judo's website. USA Judo. Yeah, so I'm just like, you can kind of see USA Judo's like argument of like, why are you guys like not doing anything and we're providing the stuff, right? But
like right there, like we're doing the work. Yeah.
Yeah. As of this announcement, I went to check USJF and USJA's website. They have their own safe sport and background screening links now. I don't know how long that's been there for, but I'm just saying, as of my last time I tried to renew my coaching cert, it was not there. Also, same thing when Scotty got his background check, because Scotty's helping us with the kids class. Mm-hmm. We told him to get a background check. He was, and also Eric, like the other, sorry. He was also not able to get it on the USJA website and had to go through USA Judo's website. This is like last year, 2 years ago. So I think whenever they put this out, it was probably when they figured out they're not going to renew it, and they're like, okay, we better like get this thing set up.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably what was happening. So you can find a full list of changes here. We can talk about it later. We understand that these are significant changes to many in the USJ, United States Judo community, blah, blah, blah. We are disappointed that more fruitful discussions with the JA and JF did not occur. Our biggest concern is the safety of all participants and the ability for individuals to train and compete as much as possible as we continue to grow our sports in the United States. Now is the time for change to further develop and grow our sport. I find that, like, if you actually believe that statement, you're limiting people to compete. Yeah. No. I know, but it's just like, I don't know how anyone with a good PR would be able to write that with a straight face, you know, like clearly the audience, assuming the person who wrote this isn't stupid, which is what Joe. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's Keith Bryant and Joe Ragan, who actually trains at my old dojo, by the way. Their names are assigned here, but I don't think they're stupid people. So whoever they're writing this to, whether it's the Olympic Committee or whatever, that particular paragraph, that it's written to them. It's because anyone who knows anything about the Judo Committee knows everything about that paragraph is false. So
yeah,
we know safety is not the reason for this, because nothing's going to change about nothing's going to change about the way we compete or train, really, outside of like now is making it more difficult, right? And two, this does not develop or grow our sport. So
it just limits. That's all it does, is limit. There's no way
Yeah, that paragraph is not directed at us. It's directed at some non-judo organization or entity reading this.
I will say this, okay? And this is one thing I talked to you about separately. We talked about it one day. I have noticed, and this is kind of interesting. Now I'm kind of putting two and two together. So Jimmy Pedro and his American judo system has been putting on more tournaments lately. They've been doing like tournaments in East Coast, West Coast, some of the Midwest stuff.
They did have to cancel one recently, I heard.
Yeah. But they did cancel one. But they're putting on more tournaments. Do you think that maybe that since they want to grow judo, it's like, why do we need these grassroots of the Naka stuff if we have Jimmy Pedro now doing like our version of grassroots tournaments?
That's a big I will say yes. I do think so. I think but I don't have any evidence. Like,
because these are now USA Judo tournaments. They're not USJF or USJA.
Yes,
these are USA Judo tournaments.
I don't like saying things. Oh, I think this will happen without actually any evidence backing it up. But my gut feeling is yes, because it's very vague. But at the time when they started including the American Judo System videos onto the USA Judo membership, I knew something was they're cooking something up. And then when USA Judo made this announcement, it seems absolutely stupid, right? To most people, like even us were saying it's not good for judo right now. But USA Judo's not, like, Keith Bryan's not stupid. He's a really smart guy. Like, if anything, he turned USA Judo from in the red to in the black now. So I believe they have something up the plan. They wouldn't do this just because of what we said, which is like the USJA and USJF don't provide us any value, because what they're doing is actively hurting judo right now. So I think they have a plan, like I said, I wouldn't say long run, because that would imply like a decade or more. I think they have something in the plans that would actually grow judo in the short term.
Because I know it's one of the
I know that's a huge ask given their history, but yeah.
But it's a big ask, not a big ask, but I know it's a thing that people always bring up with USA Judo, is that even though USJ Judo does do like the US Nationals and all that stuff, do these big tournaments, they don't do a lot of smaller tournaments. They don't do a lot of regional tournaments. They don't hold a whole lot of tournaments. They depend on USJA and USJF to hold the smaller local tournaments. And if now Jimmy Pedro's going to take that over or do these American Judo System tournaments, that's kind of like taking, like, they're not, I don't think they get put on as many tournaments as we do here. Like here in Southern California, between USJA, USJF, and USA Judo, we have a tournament almost once a month, if not once every other month. Okay. And I don't think Jimmy Pedro can be putting on tournaments once a month, once every month in every region, but he could do one a quarter in every other region, do a summer tournament, a winter tournament, a fall, spring tournament and stuff in other regions.
Yeah. So I do think, like I said, I agree, because like they're working with Jimmy Pedro. You said they're hosting more tournaments. They raised the membership fee to $100 a month. So they have to have something planned. Like, all this stuff is signs that they needed the funding and reach to do whatever the hell they're doing, which I think it's, if they're going to do anything, like you said, it's going to be growth. They're going to expand their tournament offerings. And I mean, ultimately their goal, I think, it's the LA Olympics 2028, right? So they have to do some stuff for growth. So that's also Jimmy Pedro's goal with the Project Gold now is called. That's their goal too. So I could see them working with USA Judo to make this happen if they when the goals aligned. Versus, I mean, in our minds, USJA and USJF aren't doing in my mind, I don't want to speak for you. What USJA and USJF is doing right now is not really helpful. It's kind of like keeping the status quo kind of thing, like trying the same things. Let's host more tournaments and hopefully that will help grow judo, which I mean, is that like trying the same thing that hasn't worked, like, it's not really helpful. So,
all right. So continue.
That was the end of the statement. Okay. That's the statement. Do you want me to read the actual changes? Cause, I mean, they linked a document about the actual changes, like before and after, about insurance. But one thing I want to really point out is, one of the agreements was basically parties agreed to provide links to each other's respective website's homepage.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says these links were never reciprocated and will continue not to exist. I will say I have found links to USJF and USJA's website on USA Judo's website, but not the other way around. So it's like, wow, this is like such a simple thing that you can do in like 10 seconds and you guys didn't do it.
It's just an easy little button right there. And it seems like through the so the USA Judo side, like you and I, like we've been in this, we know these things. And even with reading this again and stuff, or just hearing it again out loud like this, it's like, yeah, USA Judo was doing a lot of stuff. And it really did seem like USJF and USJA weren't doing their part or keeping their end up, it seems.
Yeah. On the other hand,
it's what it seems.
Yeah.
From right here.
So on the other hand, from USJF and USJA's perspective, it's like we're the ones they of course they're the ones who saying like we're the ones giving the value and you guys can't even let us compete at USA National. So we're giving and you're taking. That's their mindset, because it's like we're the ones training the athletes in the grassroots quote unquote grassroots pipeline. Grassroots. We're the ones hosting the tournaments. We're the ones like that have the dojo to dojo connection. We're the ones training the referees. Like Nanka, for example, has a referee program.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, a lot of the referees come from this region, right? So I think in their perspective, it's like we're the ones giving and you're the ones taking. So
in their eyes,
that's what I think.
So now read. Do you want to read USJA's response or USJF?
Let me finish reading what they said about the athlete development model. So the agreement was parties understand and agree that some standardization of instruction and progressive skill level of programming will assist in the integration of the sport and may also help with talent identification. The parties also agree to develop programming for recreational players and to promote the philosophy of judo as per the teaching of Dr. Jigoro Kano. Let me see. The rest of that paragraphs about the development model. Okay, so this is what they said changed. USA Judo coordinated the bringing together of USJA and USJF representatives to create a foundational and a coaching task force utilizing funding and resources provided by the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. A foundational document guide and online coaching program were created before USJF participants dropped out and were not replaced. This caused further development of the program to seize beyond and was already created.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of talked about it on the follow-up episode where I met with Larry Sestui and at the Darcel's training camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked about him briefly. And he basically said, yeah, it's not going anywhere because I guess people weren't all in on it, which, I mean, I wasn't all in on it. So, again, we already kind of knew the Olympic Committee kind of forced them to come up with something. That's what we talked about in the episode. And they just had to hand in their homework kind of thing.
They had in their homework.
But USA Judo saying
I like that.
Yeah, so USA Judo's like, we provided the money, but the money came from the U.S. Olympic Committee, you know? So, like, it's not technically not your money. So they could have done this without USJA and USJF, but I think they wanted to. I don't know why they decided to do it with them. But again, if you read the goals of the program, like we said, like I read earlier, I don't think there was a honest effort to do any of this. Like a standardized instruction, like you can't just come up with a document and then hope the dojos will adopt it. You know, you can't even get people to adopt their official grading syllabus, the rank requirements. How the hell are you going to adopt? We don't even have the same belts. Like Sawtel's first belt is green belt. Our first belt is yellow belt. Like, how are you going to get them to adopt an instructional model?
And that's our sister dojo. We're supposed to get along.
So there's only two things you can do. One is you do it by force, right? Forcing forcing these dojos to do it. Or two, you would have to have a buy-in and cultural shift, right? So that's obviously the hard part, and that didn't happen. And then the other thing is what recreational. Like, yeah, parties also agreed to develop programming for recreational players. Like, that obviously is so like low in the priority for them.
Yeah, that's like recreational players. Who gives a shit about recreational players? You come if you come.
Yeah, so I don't even know why they agreed. I don't know why they agreed to it, honestly, without the correct buy-in from different people. Like basically what I'm saying is USJF and USJA do not speak for the local dojos. So they really should think
the only way
through better next time.
Well, the only way that they could really like muscle their way into like forcing people to teach a special curriculum of like this syllabus, you must teach this, is that if we went to the, and this happens a lot in Taekwondo of all of things, that your sensei doesn't promote you to belt colors. You have to go to a committee of, you have to go test at a place. Like, okay, there's tests every month on the 30th or the last Sunday of every month, they test for this belt rank at this place, you know?
Well, the USJA tried that, if I remember, but because there's a lack of approved certification examiners, you have to drive like 2 states away to get a belt test.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's the only way you could do it. But it have to be like for months. Like we're talking about how hard it is to find good judo in every city. Now you got to find judo examiners in every city or every state or something.
I think,
that's the only way you could force it. That's the only way you could force it. And that the only way you're going to get promoted is if you go to the examination. That way your sensei is forced to teach this stuff and forced to teach you it this way so that you passed. And the only system I've seen do that kind of stuff is Taekwondo. I see it in Tang Soo Do sometimes. I used to see it in karate, but I don't see it in karate that much anymore.
They do in judo in other countries.
Do they? Oh, yeah. I know in France they do it, right? In
Europe in general, yeah.
Yeah. I remember one of our French players talking about that. But those were just black belts.
Japan too, sir, in a certain way, yeah.
Yeah. I know I've seen it for their black belts and stuff, but that's the only way you're going to get people forced to do what you want.
Well, there's also different ways of forcing that I'm not going to get into. No, I'm not talking about like blackmailing.
Stop pulling guns on people, Anthony. Guns are not the answer. All right.
No, like if these people hold never mind. I'm not going to get into it. Like that's a different topic for a different day. It's not too controversial, but that's different. But I lost my train of. I do think Jimmy Pedro and the American Judo system, that is effectively what they're trying to implement, the problem they're trying to solve. Because remember, some people are like, "Oh, it's online belt testing, giving away tests, illegitimate belts, kind of thing." But that's what they're trying to do to solve the problem of America just being such a vast, large, diverse place, So
that's the one thing we always talk about that people forget, how big America is. America's the size of like all of Europe or something, I believe, something like that. So you think of us like state by state, like look at how big America is. And the way we teach in California is gonna be different than the way they teach in Texas, different than the way they teach in Florida, different than the way they teach in New York or something. Like you came from Texas and you see how the way you were taught there, and then you came to California, you see the way that we teach out here. And that's not to vary from club to club, from dojo to dojo. So it's one of the things. So, okay. So do you want to go over USJA, USJF response?
Yeah. So USJF was the next one that had a response. So I'll go over that one next. So the president of USJA and JNJF with the assistant of their board and staff have signed a bilateral. Oh, wait, no, this is not the right. This is USJA.
Yeah. That's USJA is right there.
Okay. I mean, that's regarding the recent withdrawal by USA Judo from the American Judo Alliance, blah, blah, blah. Okay. USA Judo recently announced that it was terminating the participation in the above reference agreement. USJF leadership were disappointed by this turn of events and the refusal of USA Judo to come to the table to discuss how the agreement could have been improved for the benefit of all organizations and the American Judo community. In this announcement, we would like to make clear what has happened until this point in our vision moving forward. Okay, I'm not going to go through everything because you can just read it yourself. So in 2018, despite the obvious inequalities that existed in agreement concerning tournament participation, what we were talking about USA Nationals, the recognition of referee, kata, teacher, and coach certifications in several other areas, the USJF agreed to enter into this agreement in the spirit of cooperation and for the potential betterment and development of of judo in the U.S. Years later, however, the effects of agreements have clearly been detrimental to the USJF in a number of ways, and the USJF is intended to work with USA Judo and USJA to find a better solution for all parties involved. I feel like that's kind of blaming their problems on other people. I don't know what they mean, why it's detrimental to them. I don't know what USA Judo did that was detrimental to them, other than providing a better service. So,
well, I have a theory, and it all comes down to money about that one. Do you want to hear it now or later?
Yeah, go ahead.
So my theory with that when I read that part was when it comes detrimental to us is that, okay, so we just got out the pandemic. Judo has been on the ropes not on the ropes, but just we've been on the skids since most of us, we run out of community centers, YMCAs, a lot of judo. We don't have our own brick and mortar places. We run out of places. So most places like that follow the government guidelines and closed down during the pandemic, where a lot of BJJ places, MMA places turned into like little speakeasies. Like they would be on the hush hush. All of them put newspaper up on their doors and stuff, so you can't look inside. So they continued. So when we all shut down and closed, USJA, USJF, and USA Judo, they all lost money. You know, they weren't getting federation dues paid to them unless you're crazy or you're a very good person, paying your dues to them for your yearly stuff during the pandemic. Because I didn't pay nothing. I was like, pandemic. I don't
even like these organizations that don't pay it. So.
And he's paying it. This fool right here. So I didn't pay for USJF or USJA or USA Judo. I didn't pay nothing. So they lost a lot of money right there. And then when the pandemic ended, dojo started reopening, and you're choosing, do I want to go back to USJF? Do I want to go back to USJA? Do I want to join USA Judo? Well, in some people's eyes, I can say like, well, the most prestigious one would be USA Judo, you know? So I'm going to join that one. Or USJF and USJA, and this is another thing where they're all supposed to be the same price, but USA Judo raised their prices, you know, to $120. What's the negotiation was supposed to be, they're all supposed to be $70.
100.
Was it 100? Okay.
Yeah.
They were all supposed to be $70. Well, you want to know what? We're going to raise our price to $100. Okay. Which in theory would be like, oh, well, if I'm going to spend $100, I'm going to save money. I'm going to go to USJF or USJA.
Yeah.
Well, USJA, what they did, we're going to lower our price $10. So we're going to be 60. And then you have USJF in the middle being at 70. So I'm thinking it comes down to money about people joining their federations. I really do think it's one of those things right there.
This is where it kind of gets complicated, because that's true for other dojos like us who accept all three, right? And are part of all three. But most dojos only are part of one. They're loyal to one.
But with the agreement, if I join,
I'm talking about dojos that require people to sign up for one.
But with the agreement, if I'm part of any federation, I can train at any dojo.
No, like for example, Sawtell, you have to sign up for USJF.
Oh, that's just Kenji. That's just
Kenji. No. That same thing for the dojo near me. The dojos near me, you have to sign up for the ones they're loyal with.
Really?
Yeah. So it's all about the tournaments. Like if you're competing, the question is when you go to a tournament is whether you would be able to coach there or not, and whether your rank would be recognized and whether you can compete in it or not. That's basically it. For vast majority of the clubs out there, they're only loyal to one club. I think Goltz is like another one that's kind of similar to us, where he accepts all three. But for most people, it's your dojo only accepts one, and I think there's some I know that accept two. But yeah, you're gonna if your dojo is a USA Judo dojo only, then you have to sign up for USA Judo. You can't.
It's just something I think that because they're scrambling to make money, each of them, because I know USJA was in a bad situation after the pandemic, and I think that's why they lowered the price to get more members.
Yeah,
I think that just my opinion. I think that's something
that I also want to. I don't think we ever mentioned was shortly after. I don't want to say after the pandemic, but shortly after we came out of the lockdown and dojos started reopening, some dojos in this area left USJF and went to USA Judo, and a lot of that has to do with the LA Olympics, like the Parks and Recs agreement that they had with USA Judo. So a lot of dojos, actually, I don't want to say a lot, but I know at least 2 or 3 that left, I think, and are officially USA Judo dojos now. So that I feel like they're taking away the USJF members in that sense too. So that could be part of what they're talking about. Yeah, let's continue with the letter. With that intent, the USJA formed a negotiating team to engage with USA Judo towards a better solution, contacted them with a list of benefits that had been accrued through the agreement. Upon noting that none of the benefits were received by the USJF. So they were making a counterclaim, like we were giving you guys stuff and you guys were never ever giving us stuff. USA Judo took the unprecedented step of abruptly walking away from the discussion and curtailing any future negotiations. I mean, like if I was like helping you with stuff and then you told me I never helped you in the first place and you were helping me, I would walk away too, honestly. So
but this is he said, she said. This is hearsay.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So despite our attempts to schedule such meetings and despite our request to extend the agreement expiration date to a month-by-month basis for up to 6 months, to which USA Judo initially signaled agreement, then while waiting for a response from USA Judo to our multiple meeting requests, they simply announced their intentions via the website without the courtesy of informing us. For full transparency, the negotiation team is happy to share the entire communication exchange with any USJF member upon request. I am a USJF member. I emailed them on the day of them sending this thing out, and it's been what? How many days now? 4 days? 5 days? I did not get a response. I requested the communication exchange.
Yes. At time of recording, we have yet to get a response from USJF.
Yep.
Even though they said they would give it to people promptly as soon as they asked for it. Anthony asked for it, didn't get nothing.
Yeah. So, I mean, but historically, USJF has been really slow on this kind of stuff anyway. Like, remember, we'd have people try judo and we'll sign up for USJF and we don't get their membership. We get their membership card mailed to us like a year later, like
6 months, 9 months later, not a year later.
I think it was a year. I was like, it's just like who, like, cause Gary, who runs the some of the office stuff at the time, was like, who is this member? We just received all these cards. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen these guys in like a year now. I'm like,
quit, hurt, quit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He still comes. He comes on Thursday.
Yeah. I'm not going to read the stuff that I don't think is important. Yeah, so they said USA Judo is disrespectful, disingenuous, and against the intent of original agreement and spirit of judo, and a slap in the face of all USJF members. Well, I'm a USJF member. I don't feel like this is a slap in the face. So you don't feel like you got slapped in the face? You feel maybe you got hit in the huevos instead? No,
I got uchimata in the huevos. Oh man. I got uchimata huevos.
So I just think, make no mistake, the USJF is poised now more than ever to have a thriving, successful, vibrant organization that grows regularly every year and provide the best judo instruction and participation avenues in the U.S. That was in bold, by the way. It was bolded. I posted that. I think someone posted that laughing at that comment on Reddit. Someone posted it.
Yeah.
And then like someone else responded like, yeah, that's because the bar is set so low right now. Like they're like, you can only go up. You can't go down anymore.
You can't get any worse than this now.
So yeah, that's that to the end. And given USJA Judo's unfortunate blah, blah, blah. So the USJA, this is where they announced that they signed an agreement with USJA to continue on basically the stuff that they were agreed on before. So it's just, there's a side of USJA and USJF now and a side of USA Judo, basically.
Yeah.
And they repeat the same things about not covering certain things. Yeah, so that was the USJF announcement.
So basically what I thought was going to happen pretty much did happen, except a little bit more. Judo is not ending in the U.S. The U.S. is not getting rid of judo. We're not dying in the U.S. and stuff. It's just the alliance has changed. And when I first started judo, this is more similar to when I started. USJF and USJA have always been more closer together, and USA Judo has always kind of been separate. You want to call it like elitist and the common man. Get with that. Get away from me. One of those kind of things. So I always assumed that when this alliance broke off, that'd be like, okay, USJA and USJF, they'll probably go back together doing their things, and USA Judo be its own thing, doing separate, worrying about, again, making the national team, sending people out to IJF tournaments, doing the Olympics stuff, setting up that and doing all those things. So basically, if you're a USA Judo member, you want to compete at other tournaments, you're most likely going to have to join USJA or USJF to compete, because USJA and USJF, they signed their agreement that they will recognize everything between themselves again. So if I have a coaching certificate for either one of those, I can coach at their tournaments. But if I do not have a coaching certificate for USA Judo, I can't coach there. So basically, you're going to have to do the whole thing where you have two federations, well, not two, but you have to get one of each. Right. If I have students going to the USA Nationals, I better have a USA Judo's coaching certificate, and hopefully my students will have to join USA Judo. But if you're going to do the local tournaments, wherever your local Judanshikai is, whether they're USJA or USJF more, you're going to have to get all that for them as well. Me, myself, I'll probably have to join USJA and USJF again because I was being cheap and only do it cheaper, I guess you'd say.
Well,
and only
the dojo pays
USA
for it.
Judo.
I was all
hey, don't tell people our secrets. Yes, the dojo paid for it. Yes. And if I'm going to go like me, I have my third Dan certificate is through USA Judo, but it is also recognized through USJA. Okay. If I get my fourth Dan in, let's say, 5 years or less, who knows, whenever that will be, I'll most likely do it through USA Judo again, since that's my main federation for the most part. I will probably have to do another separate application for USJA or USJF to get it through them as well. They won't be like, oh, you have it through there. Okay, we accept that. Here's your certificate from us. I'll have to apply through them, a separate thing to apply to them. Okay. Now, when it comes to tournaments, that's going to be a suck for people, because a lot of people just pay for one federation and they compete at all the tournaments. Now you're going to pay for two federations, either USJ, USJF, and USA Judo. So it's just one of those things where you just have to do two things now. To me, I'm not like I'm saying I'm used to it, but this is how it was when I first started doing judo and I first got serious about doing judo. This is how it was back then. I know people are acting like it's the end of the world, but it's only been 6 years, people. It's only been 6 years. I know some people that probably haven't been in judo. This is their major time, and they've only known this past 6 years, and this is how things are. So this is totally different and might be scary to some people. Judo ain't going nowhere. It's just going to be more separate, and this is just how it wasn't back.
I get the spirit of what you're saying, but I think judo is in decline in America. So.
Oh my God, the sky is falling. Oh my God.
Yep. But I get what you mean. It's in the long term, it's not going to change anything. This agreement, because right now things are still happening. We're still waiting for the details to be ironed out, but organizers and competitors and clubs are just going to adjust. They're either going to change clubs, change sanctioned, who they're sanctioned with. And for example, the upcoming Golden State Golden State Championships, Golden State Open, that's a USA Judo only tournament. And we basically got clarification that most of our members that want to compete in that will have to get a USA Judo membership. And most of our black belts are USA Judo, because we get, like you said, we get our rank through them. But most of our recreational players are USJA because they're the cheapest. So now those people are going to have to get USA Judo memberships. So
it's either a choice. If you want to spend the money to get the USA Judo membership, USA Judo membership, that's $100, or you just be like, you want to what? I'm not going to go to this tournament. I'm not ready for this. Is a big tournament anyway. Maybe I'm not ready for this tournament. Maybe I'll keep going to my smaller tournaments instead.
It's also important to note that USA Judo is actually prorating your membership for the rest of the year if you think it's too expensive.
Ooh,
but
interesting.
Yeah. But so I think this is what most people will probably do. Either they pay for the prorated membership and compete in this tournament because they really want to compete, or they go to a non-USA Judo tournament, or they wait until their membership expires and sign up for USA Judo next year and compete next year. So those are more realistic scenarios.
Well, it's the thing is, like, you should, like, it's just my opinion. You should probably have one of each, okay? Because normally the reality
in LA
less. Yeah. Majority of our tournaments are held by USJA and USJF. Majority of our tournaments are.
I think there's only like 2 USA Judo tournaments a year. Or adults. I'm not talking about like youth nationals, youth Olympics, and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. So there's like maybe 2 USA Judo tournaments in LA and stuff. So yeah, you should get a USJA or USJF federation. So you should do that anyways. It's only like, I think if you're maybe a brown or black belt and you're doing a lot more tournaments or going to the bigger ones, then you're going to need 2. I definitely believe that.
The other alternative I see is you would sign up for one main one, like USA Judo, for example, and every time you want to compete in the other ones, sign up. Like, for example, USJF offers like a 1-month membership for like $25 or something like that.
Yeah.
You just do that and see that as part of the entry fee. Like,
I was going to suggest that. I was like, I know they do. Does USA Judo have that as well?
I don't think so. Not anymore.
Okay.
So that's another
a lot
option.
of people doing that.
Yeah. That's another option.
1 month membership. But, the 1 week.
Overall, I think if people start seeing the people that host the tournament, unless they're really loyal to the organization for whatever political reason, if they start seeing numbers dropping, they're going to just change the sanctioned events that they're the organization they're sanctioned with. And if competitors start seeing their local tournaments all shift towards one organization, then they're just going to change that organization. So, like I said, over time, things will balance out. Like, things will work themselves out. It's just right now things are a little crazy. So,
in theory, now this is an interesting theory right here. In theory, could you get like a USJF sanctioned tournament and also get a USA Judo sanction for that same tournament, or can only be one sanction for one tournament?
That's what I think. I was considering it too. Why can't they do that? You know, or
would that just cost too much to the rest?
It's either cost or they might not approve it. That's what I think. If someone out there knows, maybe I'll ask around and find out. But if someone out there knows, shoot us a message. I really not sure about that. That's a good question.
That's one way to get around and have everybody compete still. Get everybody on the mat.
I will say, out of the 3, personally, USA Judo is the one I would pick for myself, based off my understanding of the inner workings of the clubs. They all suck, but USA Judo is like the one that I would pick. But they make it really impossible for me to get a coaching cert through them. So
because they don't have classes out here in California.
They don't have them very often. Plus, it's far. So that's why my coaching cert is through USJA, because that was the most accessible for me. And then, so if they want to, like, part of the plans that we're talking about is growth, right? So maybe they're making it so you can have an online coaching thing, but you just have to sit through a Zoom seminar kind of thing.
Class.
Because honestly, most of the coaching stuff I've been to, they're in person, but there's no reason why it can't be done online. There was I think only the level 2 coaching cert has a on the mat, in person on mat time kind of element to it. But the level 1 coaching cert, there was no, I just sat in a room with this guy, since Philippe was going through slides. I will say though, since Philippe's clinic has a group discussion at the end, that was arguably my favorite part about why I attend his clinics all the time, even though I don't need to, because the group discussion was pretty good, but I don't think there's a reason it has to be part of the coaching certificate, because in the end it's about how to not get sued and how to what not to do to kids, basically. Like, don't make them cut weight. Like,
protect the kids. Like, don't make them, like the old days, like, cut the weight, put the plastics on, train all day, train all night.
Don't make them fight through a concussion, which honestly, most people who get these, I've seen happen at tournaments anyway. So
I saw it happen and I hate to say it, like, it's now past time and stuff, but I saw it at Winter Nationals. I saw a kid literally go to the medics that said he was hurt, but then his coach and his friends and family, coach and family came over and was like, don't you, weren't speaking English, but I knew what they were saying. Don't you ever tell the ref or tell her that you're hurt. Are you okay? You go out there. And they were going to go over his match. And they were like, no, he's good. And I'm just like, that's like the number one thing right there. Why is no one doing anything?
Basically,
I'm just a coach.
A lot, I made a post on Reddit about it. A lot of these certification courses, even in my tech job, like, they make us do like sexual harassment training, privacy, security training, all that kind of stuff. And in the end, it's just to say, we already told them, like, they it's their fault if they violate it. It's like, it's just the organizations, again, protecting themselves by providing these certifications. So there's no reason why it can't be done online. My goal, my guess is they're going to start doing it online. Then a lot of coaches would probably swap. I would swap over, honestly. So Alternatively, if they make it difficult for me to do this, I'll just not coach. Like I don't get paid to coach. Like
I don't get paid.
I don't want to spend 13 hours at a tournament
with a broken toilet, with shit on the walls, literally.
Yeah. So I'm not. Yeah, that's my thought on it, and I'm not going to read the USJA announcement because it's basically the same as USJF. Same thing about.
They're very similar.
Yeah, very similar. So, yeah.
So let us know, like in your country, how it works out. Like there's just one federation, there's two federations, or if there's one for the major athletes and one for the minor athletes. Like here in America, we have this, like we talk about the major three because there are some other smaller ones like the AAU and stuff. But in America, it's mostly the main three big ones, USJF, USJA, and USA Judo. And we had this great alliance. Well, now it's getting separated. They're having a conscious uncoupling. So let's see what happens. I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. Anthony may think it's a big deal. The sky's falling again.
I didn't say it was going to be a big. I said the same thing. This is not going to be a big deal, but it won't, because it's not a big deal. It will make no effect on the decline or incline of judo popularity in America. Is what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
See how I got so heated right there for a second?
No, I don't want people to start saying like, "Oh, Anthony from Tatami Talk says this is going to kill judo." Like, no, I'm saying it's going to have no effect on it.
That Anthony said it wasn't me.
It's going to have no effect on the growth or decline of judo. That's my opinion. It's not going to do anything.
So that's the big news in America is happening right now. You have had a lot of black belts come visit, or some are normal black belts to visit, some that just come part-time, ask us all about that. And it's like, we tell them the same thing. Like, I don't think it's going to change that much. It's just a certain way you compete or go to tournaments,
you're going to have to change.
It's going to be one of each. You're going to have one of each. For people like me and Anthony that are coaches and stuff, senseis, instructors, you're going to end up having to get one of each, most likely. That's just how it's going to be.
Yeah. So to clarify my opinion, this is going to sound blunt, but
he really wants to make sure you guys understand.
Yeah. We repeatedly say like a very small amount of judokas compete. I'm talking about around the world. Like Sensei Philippe always pulls this statistic out in his coaching clinic. Only 12% of judokas compete, and that includes like Hifumi Abe, Shohei Ono. Like that's part of the 12%. So when you talk about American judo, most likely it's even smaller than that. Then you take away you talk about just recreational judo people only, like me, you, all the adults, not the kids trying to make Olympics. That's even smaller. So vast majority of people, this will not affect. It will not affect them. If you give most people who walk in through the door to sign up for judo an option to sign up for an organization or not, they would not sign up because it provides them no value. So that's why I'm saying this will not have any effect on the growth or decline of judo in general. Because let's be honest, none of these guys are doing anything to grow judo. Other than they're trying to grow competitive judo. Let's clarify that. But none of them are actively outside marketing judo, promoting judo, helping people set up clubs, lending out mats for people to start up clubs, telling them how to teach people, actually doing something other than like taking your money and showing you PowerPoint slides. How to become an instructor, like creating instructors. None of them are doing that. It's your local dojo, my sensei, your sensei. They're the ones that are actively teaching people, teaching the next generation of instructors, all that kind of stuff. So that's my opinion on it, basically. So it's not going to change because of that.
All right. Well, Anthony, is there anything else you want to talk about today, or is that it?
No, I think that's it. Unless you want to talk about my my quote unquote, I guess it's a tumor now at this point.
Oh God! I guess since you brought that up, we should talk a little, like explain a little bit what it is. We should talk about it at the beginning of the episode.
Basically,
so Anthony cut at him for no reason.
Yeah, my whole New Year resolution goal is basically to just get healthy now. Basically, so let's just leave it at that. I'm not going to be training or competing or any kind of stuff. Yeah. So.
We'll talk about this next episode. Yeah. I'll ask you how your arms do, and you can tell me. Okay.
Yeah. And this way, people will have to listen to the next episode
if they listen all the way to the end of this episode. Yeah. All right. So with that, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow us at Tatami Talk on YouTube. You can follow us at Tatami Talk on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at _Juan. You can follow Anthony Judo on Instagram. You want to send us any questions, things you want to talk about, things to tell us about this episode, what you guys think about this crazy stuff happening. You can hit us up at tatamitalk@gmail.com. Anthony, is there anything else I'm forgetting?
No, I need to go eat lunch. So
all right. So with that, don't forget to
sign up for USA Judo membership. Slap the mat. All right.
Get out of here.